So Texas A&M has gone on a wild ride this season, and unfortunately for Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies, you just cannot catch a break. Because it's being reported that Texas A&M football has been dealing with flu issues throughout the week, and though at the time of filming this video, I don't have any definitive answers as to whether or not people could be missing the game against Florida this weekend. If so, how many and who those players may be. Based on the information we do have available, I think it's safe to say that it absolutely has disrupted the flow of practice this week, and it is something that could carry into the game tomorrow. And Texas A&M is a team that's desperate for a win to try and regain momentum and finish the year on a positive note. And because of that, we've got to break this down. But before we can, as always, y'all know the drill. I need to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you believe that Texas A&M can beat Florida this weekend? And let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification. I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And guys, we're on a push to 15,000 subscribers. I'd love to hit there by the 1st of December. And I know we can get there because this is an awesome community, one I'd love to have you a part of. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And this really brings me back to a point I made in the last video talking about Texas A&M, a point that some of you went down to the comments section and kind of pushed back. But let me explain further. Because in the previous video, I said I felt for Jimbo Fisher. And when I said I felt for Jimbo Fisher, what I meant is they're in a position where they're backed against a wall. They need a statement win. They need to answer. But Texas A&M has got a lot of injuries on that team. And when I said I felt for Jimbo Fisher, I was specifically speaking to the injuries his team has faced because they need a statement win. They need to make progress, but it is going to be incredibly difficult for any coach in college football to be making progress when they have big injury after big injury. Now, that's not to say that some of the extracurricular things that have gone on, Jimbo Fisher hasn't played a part in, or at least brought some level of attention to the Aggies and himself this year. I absolutely agree with that, and we talked about that over the summer. However, injuries are something that are out of Jimbo Fisher's control, and I sympathize with any coach in college football that goes through a year where they have a ton of injuries. But now to add on to the injury problems Texas A&M has, now they're having problems with the flu. And whether or not it affects the game and they have players miss against Florida on Saturday, it has disrupted the flow of practice. And that's big for Texas A&M because it gets us back to what we just talked about, the injuries. And you have a young quarterback. Every practice rep right now is very important for Texas A&M and the Aggies because they're trying to grow throughout the season. If you're Texas A&M right now, the best thing that could happen on a week in, week out basis is you watch your team and say, hey, we got better this week and we look better this week than we looked last week. Because if you can do that, you can sell the recruits, you can sell the fans, you can sell to the players on your team, hey, there is an absolute reason to be here. We're growing. Sure, we had hiccups along the way, and guess what? We learned from that. But look how we finished the year. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And of course, you don't want to start in the manner you did, but if you're able to finish strong, at least you can hang on to that going into the offseason, going into next year. Because I don't think a lot of Texas A&M fans figured they'd be winning a national championship this year, especially with how many new faces were on that team. But I also don't think a lot of Texas A&M fans figured they'd be where they are right now, especially with all the attention that the Aggies are getting. I mean, genuinely, TMZ Sports may as well just set up camp in College Station because every single week something seems to be going awry there. Whether it's injuries, whether it's players doing something to cause negative media attention again and again and again, and forcing us to ask the question whether or not Jimbo Fisher has control. A question some of you may not think is fair, but given everything we've seen, it's a question that must be asked. Not saying he can't regain it, but the question must absolutely be asked. Now we're getting into territory where it's injuries derailing Texas A&M's hopes. Now it's sickness derailing their hopes. And at some level, they absolutely can't catch a break. This is going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow, because as I said in the intro to this video, Texas A&M is a team that is desperate for some sort of positive momentum because that's going to be able to help them in recruiting battles. Because unfortunately, right now, teams are going to be able to negative recruit Texas A&M. And Jimbo Fisher said the other day, for these prospects on the recruiting trail, even if Texas A&M is losing, that just presents the opportunity for more of these young individuals to get easier playing time. However, what Jimbo Fisher didn't tell the media is that while that's typically true, the teams that are losing at this clip typically don't have the talent Texas A&M has. So yes, you could be going to a team that's losing, but now you're going to be competing against all the 5-stars that Jimbo Fisher and them recruited last year and the year before, because Jimbo Fisher and them have been able to recruit. It's not like you're at Kansas selling this to a recruit where you're going up to a blue chip 4-star saying, hey, you'd be one of 3, 4, 5 blue chip 4-stars here. You can come in. We haven't been winning games. You can be the catalyst to change that. When you just signed 8 5-stars and you already had some 5-stars on your team, 10, I believe, with the inclusion of the 8 true freshmen, which, like I said, very 5-star heavy in the last class, but you have a ton of blue chip 4-stars. This is what I mean when I say you have got to recapture momentum, because Jimbo Fisher can go in front of the media and say, hey, whenever we're losing, that just presents opportunities for young guys to play easier. But the flip side of that is you also have to be a team that's devout of talent, and Texas A&M is not. They have talent. It's just not coming through right now. That might not be a net positive recruiting pitch, especially if you cannot recapture momentum, because now every other coach in the nation is going to be pointing out how much talent is there and saying, hey, it's not like at Georgia. It's not like at Alabama, where they have that much talent and you can stay because they're winning and they're sending dudes to the NFL. Jimbo Fisher and them have got to recapture some momentum. Unfortunately, everything seems to be going wrong and getting in their way and preventing them from doing that. But this weekend, they still have an opportunity against the Florida Gators, a team I'm really interested in watching, especially take on Texas A&M. But I'm really interested in hearing from all of you, because some people gave me some pushback when I said I felt for Jimbo Fisher, and I wanted to clarify here. I absolutely agree. At a lot of levels, Jimbo Fisher has brought a lot of the negative attention upon himself. However, whenever we're talking specifically about sickness and injury, I feel for any coach in the nation that's back is against a wall, that needs statement wins, needs for their team to look like a team that's progressing, but injuries keep derailing everything in front of them. I feel for the coach, and I certainly, most of all, feel for the team. I can't wait to hear from all of you. Hop down in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking about this, and let me know, do you think Texas A&M can get a win against Florida? It's going to be interesting to see. That's it. See ya.